Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Nau mai, haere mai. Good morning to staff and media, a few guests and elected members. Nice to see you all this morning. Tākena, could I call upon you to open this morning for us? Thank you, Tākena, kia ora. Well, as I said earlier, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all here, and particularly Councillors-elect Pettit and Coles. Nice to see you both. The addition of the facial hair is going to take a little bit to get used to there, Mike, but yeah, great to see you all. Hey, obviously this is our last full council meeting for this year. It's been really a busy and so at times challenging year, so I just want everybody to give it your last shot today. It is a reasonably full agenda. I'm hoping that we will have our entire meeting done and the last two workshops by about 1:30 or so we can break for lunch. But let's get into it. The first item on our list is making and attesting of declarations of councillors-elect, Coles and Pettit. So, gentlemen, if I could call on Philip to come to the table over there. Then sit down and sign it. That'd be good.
Certainly. I, Philip Thomas John Coles, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interest of Waipa District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Waipa District Council by virtue of Local Government Act 2002, Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
Sit down and just sign here. Yep. Do the same. Now, did you want a posy photo looking like you're signing it? Do you want to sit back down again and you do a posy little photo? Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mike Pettit. Michael John Pettit, no less.
Okay. I, Michael John Pettit, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of Waipa District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Waipa District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. Thank you.
You sign out here and then I sign down the bottom. and posy ones.
Oh. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well done. Congratulations. Well done, gentlemen, and nice to see you back. So moving on then to the next item, which is apologies. I have one from Liz Stolwick. Other than that, I believe we're all here. Marcus, you're happy to move that. Philip will second that. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Disclosures of members' interests. Does anybody have a disclosure or conflict of interest they wish to declare? No. Excellent. No late items that I'm aware of, but just in case, I'll look around the room. No, none. And confirmation of the order of the meeting. I don't believe there's any change at this point in time. So Lou, you and Claire, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against, carried. Fantastic. So then that means we move on to the confirmation of our minutes of our 15 November 2020 meeting. Just open my machine's a bit slow this morning. It knows it's the end of the long year. The title. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Claire.
Madam Chair. Yeah, just noting that the title of the minutes needs correction to Her Worship.
Oh. That's all good. Oh, yep. No, that's all cool. Thanks, Claire. So we have, let's just do our usual drill, page 10, 11, and 12, 13. Sorry, my machine's so slow. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, literally this is how slow it's taking. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. They all seem tickety-boo. Yep. Excellent. You're happy to move for me, Roger? And Bruce will second. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you very much for that. Moving on to tab 8 then, which is our documents signed under council seal on page 28 of our agenda. Gary, did you wish to speak to that or?
They're very straightforward matters, Your Worship. Two of those relate to access to Mangatautari or protection of the pest-proof fence, and the other is a variation of a grant to Fonterra for services located within the Factory Road reserve.
Andrew, you'll move that. I'll second. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Excellent. On to tab 9 then, which is our draft plan change 23, which is the Papakainga letter update. And this is a Tony quick format. I believe we have James Pettu with us. Good morning, Tony.
Kia ora koutou. So I'll introduce James Pettu, who's our consultant for Papakainga Plan Change, also Leah, who I think some of you may have met, who will be, or who's prepared this report today. but this will be useful giving you some background to kind of set the scene, I suppose, of how we got to now. So James will talk about detail, but it's probably worth just bearing in mind that Papakoinga has been on our to-do list probably since about 2018. And at its simplest, it's the outcome that we're seeking here is to enable Māori housing on Māori land. It kept being put off because we had other priorities and national directions, MPS urban development, for example, Plan Change 13. So we got, I guess, a directive in May 2022 to sort of get on and do it. And that sort of brought us to now. So we've got the funding through, and we've now got a 4-stage process that we're going through before we notify under the RMA. And this is stage 2 of that process. So this is just a scoping report that sets us up for the engagement to come. The engagement itself, James will talk about that. He's got an engagement strategy in his report. It's a 5-stage engagement process, which follows our significance and engagement policy. And it goes on a spectrum from inform to consult to involve to collaborate to empower. And so standard best practice for all of our plan changes is to target the engagement to the key stakeholders. And for this particular plan change, what we're looking at doing is collaborating with iwi mana whenua, because we're delivering Māori homes for Māori land, and then informing and consulting with the public. And we'll be hooking into Ahuaki, the engagement process that's been planned for that project. So there's a lot of alignment between Plan Change 23 and Ahuaki. Once we then get to, so the engagement will happen in 2023. Once we then get to notification, then we're into the statutory process. And most of you are familiar with that. Notify submissions, further submissions, hearing and decision. So there's been a lot of work to get to today, I guess. And James has been brought on board through a standard procurement process to help us out with this. And I've worked with James previously in the Waikato Regional Council, so he kind of is very familiar with this sort of work. But I just thought it'd be important to set the scene. I'll hand over now to Leah to introduce the report, and then James will be able to take you through any detail of his report. Thank you.
Thanks. Good morning. So we received the first draft of the scoping report in July this year, which prompted us to seek council feedback and funding. And as Tony mentioned, council approved the funding for the project in September. The report that James has done has identified 2 options around the extent of the plan change. Option 1 would introduce additional and amend or replace provisions in the district plan, and option 2 would seek to introduce a multi-purpose zone, and we would apply the zone across Māori land and make changes to relevant sections of the district plan. Option 2 is our preferred option moving forward. As outlined in the indicative timetable, we intend to begin community engagement in February 2023 alongside the Ahuaki team. And today, after this meeting, we will be heading to Ngā Iwi Tōku to present this report and seek their feedback. I am seeking that you take the information report as read, and we are happy to take any questions.
Kia ora mai tātou, e te rangatira, koro matu o te waipa, tēnā koe, nā rangatira o te rohi o waipa, tēnā koe te katoa, te atamari. I guess just as a quick introduction of myself, to help, I guess, frame some your questions for myself around the report. I guess my professional background is in policy and planning. I'm an accredited hearings commissioner, been in that work for a few years. Primarily in Auckland, where there's quite a complex planning regime under the Auckland Unitary Plan. My wife and I, we run our consultancy. My wife, Amy, is more in the rural farming background context, and I myself is the public policy, consent planning and evidence gathering to inform issues and policy direction as it relates to mātauranga and the connection with science, I guess, those indicators and information in that space. So that's in both the marine, freshwater and urban development and climate change as it gets a bit more momentum. So I guess that's just the bit of context to myself. I do whakapapa here to the waipa. My marae here is Te Papo Rotu, which is Ngāti Mahanga. So Mahanga's in this rohe. And again, I'll be probably talking to Manawhino this morning about how things are looking as we progress through this plan change. Hopefully that helps.
Oh, kia ora, James. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for the introduction, Tony and Leah. Elected members, any questions to have of these people? Claire, I see you've got your finger in the air.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to see this coming to us, and progress it. And James, really lovely that you've used examples from other parts of the country, how that's been used there, because, it is a new concept for Waipa. The biggest question I had was around the reference to allowing developments to occur at scale, because I guess I'm expecting that most of the papakainga, when they are established, are probably going to be in the rural landscape that we have at the moment. So I'd just like to have a bit of an understanding around what you see as that kind of scale. And I do note that you've said that as a kaupapa that there's no end point, because it'll always continue to evolve and develop. But certainly I just would like a bit of understanding around that scale proposition.
Thank you for that. Okay, sorry. Thank you for that. Thank you, Councillor. I guess in the reference to scale was using arise from the example in the Waikato district with the Hopu Hopu, the compound in itself. And that's over 80 hectares in land. And so it was looking at the opportunity, if there were similar scenarios of land holdings of that size, to think about what scale could look like. So in terms of enabling scale was also engaging in a conversation of what that might look like and what's the sensitivities in that environment, whether it's rural or outstanding natural landscapes. Then I guess scaling back to what's appropriate for that environment. And so with Hopu Hopu, it was in close proximity to a township, as well as the Three Waters infrastructure. So there was that ability to go to us, both in housing and a few other activities that already exist there. Is that a helpful answer? Cool.
Good question, Claire. Any other questions of these people? Anyone? No? Oh, Roger.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Your Worship. Yeah, I'd just like to say I'm so pleased to see this paper coming through. I suppose what gets me is the time frame and the length of time it takes. But I suppose that's understandable in the environment in which you're working, that getting through to all the stakeholders sometimes is a bit of a challenge. But I really applaud the fact that this is the start of moving on this plan change. So thank you for bringing this in.
Thank you, Roger. No other questions? Okay, well, we have... Oh, Takina, sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Kia ora mai koutou. Tēnā te tuatahi, ka pōhiri mātou ki a koe, James. Ko taia tinana mai, kia mata mai, kei runa I te kaupapa nunui ki a mātou. Tēnā no ka mihi ki a koe. Probably just one question, and I've visited a number of our marae the last few months, and I've spoken to some of our whānau about Plan Change 23 and what that means, and I think a few of the marae, actually no, all of them, have had a different, envisage a different view of what papakainga means to them. And I guess it would be a little helpful, I suppose, if we, and I know that's in the plan, to go out and get the definition of papakainga, and no doubt you'll get different answers. But in Plan Change 23, does it allow for a commercial space for those papakainga? Because from what I understand from our whānau is that it wasn't only just a housing hub, it was also a commercial hub as well. Yeah, is that something that's part of Plan Change 23? Kia ora mai.
I would envisage there would be commercial activities as it relates to the environment it's within. So there is already, say, forms of commercial activities within rural zone, subject to vehicle movements from that entranceway, the size of that entranceway. So there's still that kind of matters that still need to be addressed as part of any kind of pursuit for commercial development within a papakainga. But holistically, the papakainga, it's bringing whānau together to create well-being. And so the advancement of well-being is still part of the conversation. It's just the appropriateness of that activity within, again, I'll go back to outstanding natural landscapes, or there's some properties that are located within flood risk areas. So there's still some limitations that we need to be mindful of, but there is that pursuit for well-being holistically as we bring whānau together in housing.
Kia ora, mate.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions? No, it doesn't look like it. So we have a recommendation appearing on page 29 to receive your report, Leah. Can I have somebody move that for me? Takena will move it and Claire will second it. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you very much, and thank you for your work, James. Moving on to tab 10. Report on the December 2022 Audit and Risk Committee meeting, which was a marathon of a day, I believe. Morning, George.
All right. Yes. Could I just really quickly introduce the item just before talking to George, and in particular, just to draw your attention to an amended resolution or a new part of the resolution, because look, what we discovered very soon after the agenda was sent out was that what we have put before you this morning has a slight, and it is only a slight, but it still has a conflict with a resolution that that council passed in November. So when we established all of the committees of council in November, delegations were given to each of those committees in this terms of reference, which is a very, very important document because, of course, it actually gives a more detailed term of reference for the committee. We were just slightly different in terms of the delegations, and those are up there on the screen. Okay, so rather than recommending approval of the auditor's engagement and arrangements letter, the terms of reference, the TOR, actually is that this committee would actually approve the auditor's engagement and arrangements letters. That's been the practice, but there needs to be an amendment. And then there was, I guess, a bit of a catch-all delegation in the terms of reference, which isn't a delegation in the 15th of November resolution, which is to consider any other matter requested of the committee by council or any of its other committees. So look, I've probably talked enough about it because it's actually not a huge issue, but we just want to make sure that, of course, the two sets of delegations, the set that we put up to you today, we want to make sure that those are absolutely consistent with the 15th of November resolution. So the suggestion is that we put this part B in there. Okay, so that's where we're heading, but I'll hand over now, George, to talk to the report.
Yeah, so I will take the report as read, just to confirm it is about obviously what discussions occurred at the Audit and Risk meeting in December, but in front of you here is also about approving the proposed terms of reference, which Ken has just indicated in terms of a change in the resolution, and also just confirming a satisfaction with the Audit and Risk Committee work plan for the coming year. There are two appendices for interest, so the outcome of the fees and charges audit and the climate change internal audit scope, which is currently underway. But happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions for George in respect of this item? No? I believe it was a pretty long day. Well done, thank you for that. So we have then the amended resolution as it appears on the screen. I believe I have it on the, am I the only one with it in front of me? Okay. So are we comfortable with the resolution as it appears on the screen as explained by Ken? Or do you want me to read it all out? You're all, no, you're all happy with it? Excellent. Okay. You'll move it for me, Roger, and you will second it, Lou. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Thanks, George. The next item appears on page 211 of our agenda, tab 11. It's the adoption of the annual report for the year ending 30 June 2022. So we're ahead of time. Okay. We're actually 20 minutes ahead of time, according to what it says here. Over that, so it's another couple of minutes. Well, how about we just take a quick break, a quick adjournment then?
Okay, yes.
Gonna do that for 5 minutes. Okay. So we'll come back at 9:30. Oh, who have we got here? Yeah, 9:30 we'll return.